some things have got to change for this team to turn the season around. Now, we might look back and say, hey, that Texas team was just a juggernaut. Michigan was in their second game, replacing 18 starters. And what can you expect? This team turned it around. Or we might be shaking our heads after Saturday night's game, going into the USC game next week. Like, wow, what does this team look like? The Michigan football team, the Michigan football coaching staff, Sherrone Moore, Wink Martindale, and others, Kirk Campbell, are under the microscope, and Michigan has looked out of sync on both sides of the ball. Offense, they can't get anything going until the fourth quarter. Defense, they can't stop anybody on third down. They're missing tackles. They're doing things uncharacteristic of a Michigan defense, really, since the last couple years of the Brady Hoke era. On Saturday, I am keeping my eyes on. You're going to find out next here on the Michigan Football Report for Young Harbaugh. I am James Yoder. Let's get it going right now. I'm going to watch this game incredibly intently for some things to improve. We thought we'd see a big improvement from week 1 to week 2. We didn't. I don't know really in any area of the game, right, that you can point to. Could have been just the talent of Texas that they put on display in the Big House on Saturday. But I'm going to go through about 4 or 5 things that I'm going to be intently watching in this game. Guys, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We're still in that subscriber battle for this month. We're about 20 back of the Alabama Football Report. They've had themselves a nice run. They're doing live shows too, Jack, so they got a little bit of an advantage. So we need to represent and come through. If you already subscribed, grab that link. It's down in the comments. It's down in the description of the video, or just type it in there and share this video. Subscribe to the channel. It's youtube.com/Michigan TV. Let's keep the party rolling into 2024 and on into 2025. First thing I'm watching for on Saturday is Jyaire Hill. It's been pretty clear that the opposing offenses have just decided they wanted to pick on Hill, and it wasn't any more evident than in the passing game, especially in the first half for Texas on Saturday. Now, he's got 5 tackles in the year. He did have a tackle for loss against the Longhorns, and he's not necessarily getting burnt downfield for big, 50, 60-yard touchdown passes, but he's been getting, the ball thrown to his side of the field a bunch. They've been avoiding Will Johnson. Now, Fresno State did challenge Johnson here and there. They paid for it towards the end of the game. But can Jyaire Hill step up and be a serviceable cornerback that makes the team think twice before always focusing on him, because it's going to come back in a week from now against USC. This is going to be one of the better passing teams. USC, they're always going to be that way with Lincoln Riley as their head coach. And if Will Johnson's the only guy out of the 4 or 5 corners that they've got on the field that can cover a number 1 or number 2 wide receiver and lock them down, then Michigan's, he can only cover, they can say half the field right there. It's really like a third of the field. The center's going to be open. The other side, opposite side is going to be open, because I'm not sure I've seen enough out of these safeties either, right? The tight end for Texas was their leading wide receiver. He was being covered by linebackers and safeties a bunch. So Jyaire Hill needs to become a formidable second cornerback for this Michigan team. Well, this is going to be a long season for this defense under first-year defense coordinator Wink Martindale. Guys, we do this every single week, and I want to point out, right, the guy, Jack, I think he infiltrated us. I think it was a Texas fan who changed us. It was Austin Blue. Austin Blue, if you are watching now after this video, you are getting canceled. We're blocking you from the channel because you claimed to be a Michigan fan last week. You didn't like the video, and Michigan lost to Texas, so it's your fault. But we could have been getting duped there. That's the entire reason. I think it's that reason for Austin Blue not liking the video, Jack. Also didn't wear my lucky shirt because it looked ridiculous under my thin maize shirt. It's kind of, you can see all the lettering between there. So let's start a new winning streak. The like the video, don't jinx it. Won 38 out of 38 times, so 38 out of 39 times, I think, in regular season games over the last 3 years when we were tracking it. So if you guys want to be a part of the, I guess it was all games, right? It had to be all games. So if you guys want to be a part of the next winning streak on this show and with this football team, give me a like on today's video. Next up, we've got to see some offensive line improvements, because the running blocking has been almost non-existent, right? It's been brutal. There's been a lot of push from the defensive line on the other teams, and the pass blocking has been spotty, right? You've got 2 or 3 guys who've got good PFF grades on the pass blocking. You've got 2 guys that have absolutely horrid grades on pass blocking, including Evan Link, right? The redshirt freshman right tackle, he has a 0.0 pass blocking grade through 2 games. Dominic Gugudis, he was taken out of the game for the second quarter against Fresno. But these are the 5 guys that I still expect to be Michigan starting offensive line. We talk about those pro football focus grades there. nobody's above a 72, right? Well, you got Evan Link there at 38.8. You got three other guys in the 60s, and they got Miles hitting at 71.4. Now, I'm going to speculate here in a moment. And so that's been your starting lineup for the first two games, but there has been some rumblings in practice and really just in the general Michigan football fan community that this starting five won't be the guys for the entire season. May even see some changes. Andrew Gentry, Greg Crippen, and others in this game coming up against Arkansas State on Saturday. It is homecoming, folks. I use Game Time, today's sponsor, to go to the national championship with Jack. I also didn't pay full price like some others. Going to the Michigan-Texas game, taking the fam, etc. this past weekend. And it is homecoming this weekend. It's not just homecoming for Michigan. It's a little bit of a state homecoming for Arkansas State head coach Butch Jones. Grew up in the state of Michigan, played college football there, former Central Michigan coach. I'm sure his family members are using Game Time as well. Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying tickets to events. Michigan football season is here, folks. It is homecoming. You got USC in a couple weeks. You still got Oregon at home. You've got Michigan State at home. Make sure you get going with Game Time. I love their last-minute deals. Save up to 60% off buying last-minute tickets for sports, comedy, theater, etc. You get all-in pricing, so you just toggle that feature to show your total upfront cost with no surprise fees at checkout, so you can always see a panoramic view of your seat in the app before you buy. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. Let's continue to talk about the offensive line here. These five guys that we talked about, Miles Hinton, Josh Preeb, Dominic Gudis, Giovanni El-Hadi, and Evan Link are going to be your starters. But I've got to say, guys, I think Evan Link and Gudis have got to be the ones kind of on the hot seat. Andrew Gentry, the favorite to win the job at tackle, and Greg Crippen at center, really going back to the end of the season last year. I thought Crippen was maybe a shoe-in. You had a couple guys get 6 snaps there at center during the spring game. You thought, okay, cool, maybe that's happened. But Dominic Gudis came out of nowhere, as did Evan Link, and they both haven't performed very well. The center position, Crippen came in for that second quarter, like I said, and basically Andrew Gentry is unable to block anyone. Gave up 10 hurries against Texas last. What's that? Evan Link. What did I say? Gentry. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, Evan Link. Against Texas, right? And he's given up the most in both games so far this year. I want to ask you guys this question, right? You know who the 5 starters are here. Will this be the same offensive line that we see starting the game against Ohio State the Saturday of Thanksgiving weekend? Let me know what you guys are thinking on this one, because I am trending towards no. I would actually, be willing to say in 2 or 3 games from now, right? So you got 3 more games in the month of September, right? You've got this game, you got USC. Then on the 28th, you've got Minnesota. By the time you get in October, I would bet that there'll be at least one player, if not 2, that can replace the starting lineup. Now they could lose it. The same 5 could come back, but let me know, yes or no, will these 5 guys still be starting against Ohio State? Sherrone Moore's offensive line just has to improve, and it is his job to make sure they improve, right? He was the offensive line coach, along with, I think, Mike Hart with the running game, that turned this program around in 2021. He became the OC in 2022. He was kind of a co-OC, although it was probably still Josh Gattis and really Jim Harbaugh then. But his work on the offensive line, 21-22, the Joe Moore Award-winning offensive line, and then 2023, a team that went into the last 3 games of the year against Iowa in the Big Ten championship game. Second half, quarter and a half against Ohio State, against Alabama, against Washington, without Zach Zinter, the best offensive player maybe on the team, definitely the best offensive lineman. Sherrone Moore's offensive lines have put it together. They have developed, replacing all 5 of them, and now it's time to prove that you're not just one of the best coaches in the country, should be Michigan head's coach, but you are unquestionably the best offensive line program and coach in all of football. Can Davis Warren get the job done this Saturday? Can he complete passes downfield? Can he look competent and do some of the things that J.J. McCarthy was legendary for, which is moving the chains on third down, whether it's passing, whether it's rushing with the ball? His stats have been okay, right? There hasn't been tearing it up by any means. He had a decent fourth quarter against Texas, around 60% completion right now. But if you take out the fourth quarter against Texas, that's like he's got about 200 yards through 2 games, right? So not letting it up. 3 interceptions, 2 of them against the Longhorns on Saturday was not a great performance until they were just letting Michigan move the ball and take up time. He's not getting any help from his wide receivers, right? Sitting in the stands or on the 35-yard line, you could see really easy how these pass routes develop, and it was glaring how Michigan's wide receivers weren't running great routes. They don't get open. They don't seem very fast. They're not very explosive. I'm not sure if there's a single number 1 wide receiver. Colson Loveland, 8 catches the first game, 8 catches the second game. But critical errors, right? A couple drops, a fumble right before halftime, which really put this game out of reach for Michigan. So spotlight's on Davis Warren because Jack Tuttle is coming back, right? He will be in uniform. A lot of people, myself included, in the summer thought he was going to be your starting quarterback, at least in the month of September, while they were trying to see what they had out of Alex Orji. Davis Warren sees that spot. Can he hold on to it with Jack Tuttle re-emerging? We're going to find out a lot on Saturday because, remember, USC is coming up a week from Saturday on the 21st. I'm going to put the number at 185, right? 185 passing yards for Davis Warren against Arkansas State. You guys, let me know your thoughts. Let me see who is feeling great or who's not on this passing game. Give me an over or under down in the comments. He's not also getting any help from the running game, right? So Davis Warren, right? Even if you put him on last year's team, he would have had all the things he's not getting this year. He had a great running game. He had 2 NFL draft receivers. You had multiple tight ends. You had a great offensive line. He's not getting any of that this year because the running game with Donovan Edwards and Khalil Mullins has stunk so far. And I'm not sure if Edwards is up to the task to be the starting running back on this team. And I love Donovan Edwards. He is the Don. He has provided me with some of the greatest memories I've ever had as a Michigan football fan. He's a great guy to talk to in person. He gave my son a shout-out video. But I can't hide the truth anymore. He's not getting it done in small games. He's big game Don, 68 yards through 2 games. And Michigan was trying to use him in different ways last week, but it just hasn't worked, right? I think his longest run was right you see him there against Texas was 12 yards. He has the opportunity, Donovan Edwards, in this game to reemerge as a starting running back. If not, though, it's all for Khalil Mullins taking. We also saw Benjamin Hall. We've yet to see Jordan Marshall on the field from an offensive perspective, really. Maybe he got 1 carry or something like that, but he is returning kicks, the primary kick returner for this team. So Michigan's got to find a running game. It's all on Donovan Edwards to take that job, seize it, go back to the 2022 Donovan Edwards, the national championship Donovan Edwards. But the one we've seen these first 2 games is not the Big Ten or a top 25 college football team starting running back. So you got to get it going, Don. I will be so distraught, so disappointed if we get another season this year in the regular season like we did last year with Donovan Edwards, where he is not an impactful runner who can break off 100-yard games every other time out or so and get consistent yards like Blake Corum did the last 3 seasons. A lot of focus on Wink Martindale, right? People were saying, okay, Michigan went young, right? In 2021 and obviously 22, 23, Michigan had the youngest coaching staff in all of college football. Jim Harbaugh got rid of all the guys over 45 and 50 years old, and Don Brown in his 60s, and basically the entire coaching staff was between 31 and 38 years old. It might have eventually by the years 2 and 3 there, 22 and 23, had a guy in his 40s, etc. But Sherrone Moore is one of those young guys. Now he's the head coach, so let's bring in the guy who taught on the Baltimore Ravens. He taught this defense to Jesse Minter, to Mike McDonald, who have gone on to be NFL defense coordinator, NFL head coaches now. But what is this Wink Martindale defense, right? He's replacing a ton of starters himself, but it seemed a lot like Don Brown to me, where you were blitzing at inopportune times. Your linebackers weren't put in the right position, right? Brian John Marie, he was not a good linebacker coach 4 years ago with this program, went to Tennessee, kind of seen a lot of the same, although I do think they've got talent at that linebacker position. People have said, and we took this questions on our show yesterday, is whether, it's been said that it takes 4 or 5 games for a team to get used to and understand this defense. Well, I thought it was the same defense that Minter and that McDonald ran, and it doesn't seem like that so far to me. So we're going to find out, what does this defense look like under Wink Martindale? Is he Don Brown 2.0? Has the college game passed him by? Remember, he hadn't coached in college in like 20 seasons at this point. It's not the same as the NFL. And we all saw some of the deficiencies of Michigan under Jim Harbaugh's first 3 or 4 seasons, where they brought in NFL guys that they thought would, hey, we're going to modernize and advance and all this different stuff. But they just didn't understand some of the intricacies of the college football game, and frankly, ultimately failed. This team has got USC, who's looking great, who's who's got a bye this week, I believe, right? The USC does have a bye. So they've taken care of business against LSU and then blew out whatever team they played in the second week, I forget. And they'll have a bye coming into Michigan Stadium. It's been forever since USC, if ever. I'm not sure if they've ever come into Michigan Stadium that I can remember. Maybe not in the last 40 years, but prior to that, maybe. They played each other a bunch in Rose Bowls over the year. It's going to be exciting. We're going to probably come out of this game either saying Michigan is ready to turn it around. They just had some early season flubs. This is going to be a team that can beat USC, can beat Oregon, can take care of that October schedule and go into the month of November and have a chance to be in the college football playoff. Or we might say this team's going to get absolutely destroyed by USC, have 2 losses by September 21st, and is gearing towards a 7-5 or maybe worse season with quite a few losable games out there on the schedule. We're going to know contender or pretender, I think, at least have an inkling by Saturday afternoon. Make sure to smash that like button if you want Michigan to beat Arkansas State and beat USC. Let's make it a twofer, right? Because I think people think they're going to beat Arkansas State. If you'd like Michigan to beat Arkansas State and USC, right? Give me a like on today's video. We'll have another Michigan football report for you on Friday and then post-game show on Saturday. Till then, go Blue.